Hey, we're coming off another loss, which is something that around here we haven't been used to. It's something it's kind of uncharted waters for us. You look at it and you want to go through every element of why do you lose? Because as a head coach, you have to address that. You have to figure it out so you can respond and be able to show up and be more consistent in what you're doing. And the biggest thing that I think that we've gotten away from is that edge about us, that playing harder than other people, doing the little things right. Is what we're doing X's and O's bad? No. Is our talent good enough to win all the games we've played so far? Yes. What we're not doing is we're not playing with that toughness, that grittiness, that edge that people usually associate when they think of Concord football. And also we're in a position now where people look at us much like people have looked at Shepherd year in, year out as a big team that we would love to win on the schedule. So we're going to see team's best preparation. We're going to see team's best effort. We're going to see all those things. And it's a big win for other people's programs when they can knock us off because we're defending champs last year. So I think that's a combination of what's going on. As a head coach and a coaching staff, we've got to get back to who we were. And traditionally, Concord is a team that wasn't really that talented, but found a way to be able to scratch and claw and find ways to win football games just because they were going to line up and play harder than the other team. So hopefully we can get back to that. I know those are some ingrained habits that you've got to do a nice job of always staying on top of people to do that. But I talked to my staff this morning, and we'll talk to the team later on the day. You look at Bob Huggins' basketball teams, especially last year. I mean, those guys weren't as talented as a lot of teams they played in the Big 12. They weren't as talented as Maryland in the tournament, but yet they played harder. They scratched, they clawed, they always applied pressure. They always had an edge or a grit about them and that allowed them to win games they probably shouldn't win as far as if you're looking at talent. Well, if you play the Kentuckys of the world like they did, then yeah, you're going to lose that game because the talent margin is so lopsided, but that's not our case. Talent-wise, the talent's not lopsided. I mean, we're going into every game, with the exception of the Shepherd game, where we have even or better talent than everyone we play. So I think if we get back to those roots and who we are, we can have a great ending to a lackluster season so far. If we don't, then it could continue to be lackluster. But we're not far away. I mean, that's the thing about it. Of our 3 losses, we've lost them by combined 11 points. So we've lost 3 games by 3 plays. So we could very easily be sitting in this room and we could be 7-0 and Shepherd would be 6-0. We'd be top 5 in the country. They'd be top 10 in the country, and everyone would say, "What a great matchup this is! What a great national game this is!" And Shepherd's done their part of holding the bargain, and we haven't. So good for them. And going on for this week, Shepherd is what Shepherd always is. They're a very, very good football team. They're sound in what they do, and the reason Shepherd is consistent year in and year out is because they have just as good or better talent than everyone they play, and they play with that edge. They play with that grit. They play with that toughness, and it's hard to beat teams when you have talent and the way you play. So that's why they're 6-0 right now. That's why they are who they are, and that's why they're going to continue to be who they are, because they're always going to recruit kids. Monty and his staff are always going to make sure they play hard. What we've got to do is we've got to match that toughness, and our guys have got to make some plays. The biggest thing with Shepherd, you always see, I think some people when they play them, they always go in that game and they're a little bit overwhelmed or a little bit intimidated, and teams will play them well, and it seems like they will have a 5 to 6 minute flurry of 21 points, and the team looks up and like, well, how did that happen? And it's usually because they have great special teams play. Like the Glenville game, they got a block punt for a touchdown, or Charleston game that came out of the gate and had the kickoff return, or they'll have a defensive pick six or scoop and score. That's good football teams. Good football teams do that. But like any championship type boxing match, both fighters are going to have a flurry. Both fighters are going to have a rally. If we can come out of the gates, which is something we've struggled on the road, we've been pretty good at home. If we can come out of the gates, play well out of the gates, survive their flurry whenever it's going to come. It could come early in the game, it could come somewhere in the second half. Survive that flurry, weather the storm, and then we can win that football game. If not, if we don't survive that flurry, it could get ugly. It could get ugly because they're a good football team. So we've got to do a good job with that. As of always, I mean, offensively, Ziemba's playing really well for them, taking care of the football, and that's the number one thing. He understands who his football team is. He understands what they're trying to do. He knows that if they punt it, big scheme of the picture, they've still got the best defense in the league, and they've still got great special teams who's not going to put them in a bad position. So I think the good news about Ziemba is he knows ultimately what the team is trying to accomplish, what the team is trying to do. So he takes great care of the football. They still have the same backs they've had for the last 3 years. Those guys do an excellent job. Ernie up front always does a nice job with their offensive line. The reason their offense is probably a step higher than what it has been is they have better wide receiver play, and those guys have done a tremendous job all year. I mean, Billy Brown one-on-one is a nightmare for anyone to have to cover with his length, size, physicality, and the total package. He's a mismatch for a lot of people. Defensively, it's very much the same story. They have a couple transfers. It's influx their defensive line. Those guys always do a great job of just getting upfield and disrupting the line of scrimmage. Their linebackers are the previous 2 years, the Conference Defensive Player of the Year are their starting two middle linebackers. So those guys are little Rottweilers in the yard. They'll run around and make a lot of plays. And secondary-wise, they always have talented guys that do a good job of just luring you in and waiting for you to make a bad play. They're okay with, okay, I'll give you that pass here, I'll give you that pass here, I'll give you that here, and then all of a sudden, snap, and then they'll make a big play, and then that's usually when that flurry begins that we talked about. So I love the challenge. I love the fact that our guys' backs are against the wall and then we have to respond in a positive way. I always know that even if we play our best game, there's a possibility we could lose. I think that the advantages for us going to this game is that this Concord team has nothing to lose, and Shepherd has a lot to still play for. They're still playing for conference title, #1 team in the region, all those type of things. All those type of things we were playing for last year. So I think that gives us a little bit of an edge because we know what it's like to lose. We know what it's like to taste defeat. And sometimes if you've never been there, you can panic. So looking forward to the challenge. Have the greatest respect for Monty and their whole staff and what they do. Have the greatest respect for their players. This has been a very, very fun football game since I've been head coach. I'm 2-2 versus Shepherd. 1-2 lost 2. 1-1 on the road. 1 at home. So it's been split down the middle. So hopefully we can make it 3-2 in our favor. But it's going to take a great effort. It's going to take a shift in our attitude and mindset, physicality. We're physical enough to play with them. We're talented enough to win the football game. Are we more talented? I don't necessarily think that, but we're talented enough to win the football game. So if we do that, we play the right way, it helps. And it's always nice when you play at home, especially the way we've been playing this year. So excited for the challenge. Hopefully we have a nice sunny day so people can come out. It should be a good environment. And it's always enjoyable when you get to play a top 10 team in the country. So we're excited. We're excited here at Concord. We're down, but we're not beaten. We're not defeated, and we'll come back and we'll give Shepherd our best go.